level 2. So they've met the requirements that were on that previous slide. Then they qualify for quality improvement supports, which would be, it will be a credit system. You'll qualify for a certain number of credits depending on your program size and some other factors. And you'll have credits that you can use towards purchasing materials, to pay for professional development, and to receive coaching. And that will all be distributed and managed through your council.
So what they've done is they've kind of adopted the DPP model, or Denver Preschool model, and they are expanding that to a statewide initiative where certain programs they meet these certain requirements, and the higher quality they get, they unlock more funding dollars and things like that. So like Sandra was saying, that you can use, there's certain things called flex credits, so you can use those any way you want. You can use them on coaching, you can use them on materials, and things that will help improve quality in your program, or there is such things just as coaching credits. So depending on your quality level and what your needs are for your individual program, and based on what your program self-assessment is, you can use those credits in the ways that you feel would best suit your program.
So it's, if you enter at the level 1, and then we describe the activities to do to move through the level 2, that is where at that point you'd be eligible to receive some of these support services to go along with increasing your level. So that could be your quality improvement kind of support person, coach through the coaching dollars. It could be through materials, through these different things, which I think we'll get more and more detail about. But I think that's really exciting. And I think that's really important to hear when you're going, this is a lot of stuff, this is a lot of change, and I don't really want to stay there, I want to go here, but how do I do it that there's support in place? There's support for materials you may need to get there, whether it's for a safety aspect of your program, or it's to address quality or licensing, and that there's somebody there to help you through it. I think for those of you who've gone through things like Koala and everything else, you've had some support hopefully to get ready, and this model is addressing that in sort of the same way. Sorry, Faye, you had another.
My next question is that we know that we're rolling out centers first and homes probably a year from now. Is this going to model look the same for homes, or is that what we're thinking, or did you say that already in the
There's a little bit different. There's a wonderful another document that you can look up, and it's also on the OEC website. It's the State of Colorado Shines Quality Rating and Improvement Point Structure Guide for levels 3 through 5. And there is actually a family care and home provider points system in this.
And so that outlines exactly how you earn those points in the different areas, what the quality assessor will be looking for that you do in those areas. And so how you earn those points does look a little bit different depending on whether you're a family child care setting or a center-based setting, because those programs have different attributes to them. But it functions in a similar way, that you still need to earn a minimum number of points in each of the areas, and it's the same number of levels, but how it's looked at and how it's measured varies a little bit.
And there's also the opportunity in some of these areas, such as workforce qualifications, to earn two additional points. So if you, for instance, if you have a mental health provider on staff, you can earn an additional 2 extra points, and you can use those in any domain. So
if you have, you're a couple points away from a minimum, but you've earned those optional points, you can then apply those optional points to any of those areas to then meet that minimum.
Yeah, so for example, say you have 8, you meet the minimum requirements, you have 8 points from workforce qualifications, and you have those 2 additional points, and say, well, I only have 9 in family partnerships, so I can apply those to that area to meet the minimum requirements, so you can be your level 3. Okay.
Donna.
Do you see the structure of the council changing, with the council having the responsibility to manage all this, to manage the programs, and it sounded like the council was going to be managing the points, and so the program had a certain number of points the council would allocate the credits, or?
The council won't be managing the points. that'll be the quality assessor vendor, so that's
Oh,
Koala
okay.
who has
Oh,
that.
okay.
So they're going to be doing all the quality assessing. The councils will be managing the distribution of the quality improvement supports, which councils already have a lot of experience
Okay.
with. And so it's building on that system that councils are already, and then making it more available to all programs. Right now, that varies from council depending on state initiatives that they participate in and local initiatives that they've built. So this is something that will be accessible to all licensed programs across the state.
So specifically with coaching hours and getting the local coaches that meet the credential to be able to provide the work as well as the quality improvement dollars for the program.
So really building on what councils are already doing.
And to make that more manageable for councils, ECLA has purchased a database system from, it's called SugarCRM, which basically is a grant management system and fiscal auditing program that'll make it more streamlined, a lot easier for councils to manage. So we're trying, and then there will be also some technical assistance that'll be provided by ECLA and the Denver Early Childhood Councils to support all the councils with the implementation of that new database.
So the person that we would deal with for level 1 and level 2 is our licensing specialist.
Correct.
And then when we're ready for level 3, we deal with a different person?
Then you're gonna do an application with Koala. You're gonna submit an application with them, and they will be coming out to do an evaluation and assess your program. And it's free. The state will be paying for it through with Race to the Top funds. And we had $48 million through the Race to the Top Early Learning Challenge Grant. And those funds are good through December 31st, 2016. And right now we are, the state we're having work groups to try to figure out how to make that more sustainable into the future. So the cost will be hopefully less than what Koala is now. Right now your Koala rating is good for, depending if you're a school readiness site, either 1 or 2 years. And this rating would be good for 3 years. Okay, so it'll be a less money overall those 3 years. And then if you basically every single year you'd have to submit a program report to show that you're still meeting those minimum requirements in those in whatever level you're at.
And then the person that you would work with if you wanted any support while you got ready for that assessment to go through would be more than likely a local, or through the council. We have agencies in each of the 4 counties that have local coaches. So in Eagle County, the majority of the coaching for getting ready for ratings, that kind of thing, is Early Childhood Partners, which is Janie's group, which I see a lot of Eagle County people. Jonathan and Joni back here from Early Childhood Network, Garfield County, and then we've got Shirley, Kids First, Pitkin County, with Eva and coaching there, and Stacy is our getting ready for readings and coach in Lake, and works really closely. I think for family childcare providers, a much smaller percentage have done ratings and things like that, or like a BAS or something along those lines, so you might not have had as much exposure as some of the centers that have worked a little bit more, but that'll be available to you, and there's people really ready and hoping to provide some support if that helps. So it will switch from a licensing specialist, but that'll be voluntary too if you want that or not.
Yeah, everything past the level 1 is voluntary. It's not required.
And that's important to remember.
But as we move through the levels, there's more incentives through dollars and support, coaching, and that sort of thing. So there are incentives to moving beyond the level 1.
We had a question
Gwen.
here and then back there.
How does it work with the programs who currently have the rating, like through the rural resorts, the 1291 this past year?
Right.
Would we be looking at a new rating, or would they be working off of the current one?
So that depends on, like, if you
So they just got rated last
if
week.
your
spring.
rating, it'd be good until it expires. Then once you expire, then it would go into the Colorado Shines.
Okay.
So if your rating is going to be expiring, like say October, November, December, you would still be rated under the Colorado Qualistar. And then the new Colorado Shines rating will start January 1st.
Okay.
So if your rating expires in January or beyond, you'll be rated under the Colorado Shines program.
The next slide does the alternative.
Yeah, we do the, right, where we go.
I think and there's a question back here real quick.
Yeah, my question was, I'm just curious, as this gets rolled out in family child care, is it gonna be a known thing that everybody just starts out at a level 1 and then if they choose to move forward, they can? As a parent and like an owner and provider, I can see both sides of how this is a good but maybe a bad thing in my opinion, because if you stay at a 1 and you choose not to go through with any more training or any more ratings, as someone coming to look at your child care home and they see you're only a level 1 versus someone down the street who's a 5 or a 4 or 3, whatever, it doesn't mean that the quality is any less or any better. It just means that you didn't choose to go through all these extra things. So I'm just wondering if it's going to be a known thing, just like with the Polistar thing. It's not, you don't have to do it, but then you're not rated at all. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As an R&R, we can answer, when we have a parent call us looking for childcare, at this time, we say, when you're looking for a rating, we'll say, but not all our programs are rated because it's a voluntary thing. I would think that we would be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And there will be a period of time that the ratings won't be published as we're all implementing it. I don't know, I think it's the first year, I can't remember. But yeah, for the first period of time, the ratings won't be made public, the rating levels, because it's new for all of us. And so we're implementing and want to really be thoughtful and intentional with that initial implementation of it before we start marketing and publicizing those rating levels.
I think, speaking to that, it's just, as you said, it is voluntary, it is something that you choose, and while any system is different, right, it might not mean that you're any less quality if you stay at the level 1 than the level 4 program one street over, but there's something to measure that, and it's a tool for parents to be able to use and access. And I think part of, and learning a lot more and having the great opportunity to work a lot with our state partners over the last day, week, couple of weeks, is really learning about some of those, not just incentives, but supports to help you move through, that it's looking a lot more manageable. So that helps
Just,
quality.
Polistar is kind of like it's a voluntary thing if you even want to jump into that.
Right.
So if they come to you and say, oh, you're not Polistar rated, it's like, well, because I chose not to. I'm not given a number 1 right off the bat versus a number 5 for getting there. Do you see what I'm saying? So this is saying everybody has to be a level 1, and then if you choose to move up, you can. So I feel like there's a big difference between saying I chose not to participate in Polistar versus now we all have to start out at a number 1 whether we want it or not. Do you see where I'm going?
It's different.
And I'm just saying, I'm not saying it's a bad thing or I won't move that way. I'm just saying as a parent, I guess, looking at a child care, I'd say, why are you only a level 1 and you're only a level 4?
Right.
Well, the thing with Polistar was that, that it was very pricey. It was $1,000 per classroom. And, I came from a school district that we had 70 classrooms. To have every classroom rated at $70,000, which I could be paying a few teachers, so it kind of, and the public knows, your communities talk and they know what's a good quality center and what's not. So just because you're a level 1 doesn't mean you're necessarily a poor quality program. But what this QRIS and the Colorado Shines model is that we want to actually provide incentives for you to maybe go beyond that level 1 and say well, we want to have you enter it in the PDI system. We want to see what your qualifications are, and we want everybody to see. Well, not everybody to see, but we want. We want to show people in Colorado that early childhood, we are professionals in this profession, and that we have the credentials and we deserve to be recognized as a state and as a group of people that are doing high quality work.
And go easy on me here for a second, but I will say that is the point, that parents will be able to look at programs also and make some sort of a distinction based on whether they value that higher quality or not. Part of this project, part of our work that we'll all be really partnering closely with is the idea of family engagement and showing parents what to look for and what quality means, what quality looks like. So if part of that is that hey, and here's a tool, and there is a level that will be an indication of quality, that really is part of the point, and it's a shift for a lot of us, understandable. I'm a parent also, I know where you're coming from. But that is absolutely one more tool for families, and I do think that's integral to this process and part of kind of the point of family engagement and getting kids in that good quality care and kind of rewarding that, so. Shirley, you
Well,
had
I just wanted to add to that because I think what it really is a conversation starter. So regardless of what you're rating in, this new system is going to provide a level rating. And it's a great way for the parents to know about this and for you to say, so let's have that conversation. This is why I chose to be a level 1 or a level 2, or this is what I had to do to get to a level 3 or 4 or 5. So I think we're really educating parents regardless of what level point you might be at. So I think that's a good thing too.
I think that's a great point.
But giving the time, because I hear your point about
Definitely.
not everybody can come in right off the bat for a rating,
Right.
you know, because we just don't have the capacity, and so that's, you know, one reason why the
Well, and
ratings
plus
won't.
if someone needs coaching along that way.
Right,
it's
right.
too.
So
Because I feel like,
everybody-
okay, well, if you're a 1 and you're a 4, as a parent, I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna go with the 4, but as a provider, it doesn't mean that I'm just any less than the number 4 at this point. It
Right,
just-
you're
so,
working
yeah.
on it, you're doing
I was just
everything you
curious
can to
how
work
that was
on
gonna
it,
be
so.
rolled out along with it, like,
Right.
you know, let's all understand that just everybody is a 1 until they work.
Yeah,
right?
so that's
Really
why
good
there's
point.
there's going to be that waiting period before the rating levels are made public.
Yeah,
'Cause we need to
okay.
give everybody time to get into the system
Great.
and get where they wanna be, yeah.
So this slide here is about alternative pathways to levels 3 and 4. So that means if you already have a rating through an accredited, say like NACE or NCIS or NAFCC, there's going to be a 1-to-1 crosswalk over. So you'll come in at a level 3.
That's for the class.
For Qualistar, I'm sorry. So then I skipped over a little bit. So approved accrediting bodies, that's where as long as you'll crosswalk over as long as you meet the minimum workforce qualifications in each of those areas. So like if you're a level 3, you have to have that minimum 8 points for workforce qualifications. And if you do, then you'll crosswalk right in. So Head Start and Early Head Start, those programs will also crosswalk over to a 3 or 4 as long as they meet the workforce qualifications. Head Start, those programs they already have kind of strict regulations on what your staff qualifications are, so I don't really think that'd be a problem at all.
Shirley.
Well, I wanted to clarify something, Matt, that you said a little bit earlier. If you have a Qualistar rating, say you're a 3 rated program now.
Yep.
I heard you say that when that expires, I have to tell you, we have a lot of programs that have been rated for a long time and they don't want that to expire. Can they start in this process so that there's not a lapse for them?
Yeah, they can still apply, like when they'll have like their next rating come.
Right, so say it's a year from now.
Right.
And so they can start that process before their rating actually expires,
Yes.
so that, okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
we don't
that's-
want to have a lapse in their rating at all, so they
Right.
can have that application process so they can keep going and become rated again and hopefully transfer. I mean, they'll have to meet the minimum requirements for
Right.
workforce and things like that, but then they'll be rated on the Colorado Shines instead of
Exactly,
Qualistar.
they move into that system.
Correct.
So are there any programs here that are accredited by NAEYC or NAFCC? Yes, some. So there's an application in place where those organizations apply to have their accreditation crosswalk in as an alternate pathway. And so NAEYC has applied, NAFCC, and NCIS, which is a faith-based. So those applications have not been processed and approved yet, so we don't know yet what level those will come in at. If they'll either be a level 3 or a 4 once those applications are processed. So then if you have that accreditation, then you would achieve that level as long as you also meet the workforce requirements at that level in the Colorado Shine system.
And then if you want to move into a level 5, there's another application process, which is going to be distributed sometime in April. Well, it was already sometime in the near future. And then there will be an additional assessment that will be taking place. You can either have a class or ERS observation done on your program, and so that's going to be needed to meet the level 5 quality standards. So, and we're still working on level 5 and exactly what that looks like. Is everybody familiar with what class is?
Yes.
Okay. So class, it's a classroom, what is it? It's basically, it focuses on teacher-child interactions. Can't remember what the,
It's an
Classroom
observation
assessment
tool.
Yeah.
scoring system.
what is it?
Classroom assessment scoring system.
There you go. You think I would know that after being Head Start for
Interaction, teaching strategies, yeah.
Yeah, so,
I don't know, there's 3 domains. They look at emotional support, classroom management, and instructional support. And they're toddlers and preschools, and they're for center-based programming. There's also a kindergarten to 3rd grade one, but that's not very utilized here in Colorado.
and obviously ERS focuses more on your environment, and class is about those teacher-child interactions, so.
And is that at the